Kemana? Angin membawa diri. Kasih. Semoga dapat cinta. Dalam aku tiada. Terpecah dua benua. Suatu kelupaan.
Kasih. Semoga kau dapat kepenuhan cinta. Amin. Semoga kau dapat kepenuhan cinta. Dalam aku tiada. Dan pecah dua benua. Suatu kelupaan di sisi samudra. Antara nyur dan salju. Berantem ketidakpedulian tujuh. Satu rasa, dua kematian. Antara nyur dan salju. Berantem ketidakpedulian tujuh. Kasih. Semoga kau dapat kepenuhan cinta. Nah, aku tiada. Kemana? Angin membawa diri. Kasih. Semoga kau dapat kepenuhan cinta. Dalam aku tiada. Terpecah dua benua. Suatu kelupaan di titik samudra.
Satu rasa antara benua dua kematian.
Satu rasa.
Dua alamat, satu kasih, satu
Dua
kedua
kesetiaan.
kesetiaan. Satu antara nyur, antara salju,
Satu rasa.
merentang ketidakpedulian tujuh.
Antara nyur dan salju.
Dua
Merentang
kasih,
ketidakpedulian tujuh.
satu satu rasa. Dua alamat,
kasih.
kematian, satu kehilangan, satu rasa.
Dua.
Satu kehilangan, kesetiaan,
Semoga aku dapat kepenuhan cinta.
kesetiaan. Merentang ketidakpedulian tujuh.
Terpecah dua benua.
Dua kota.
Suatu kelupaan di titik samudra.
Tahu jalan
Dua alamat. Satu
pada
kehilangan.
pintu yang membuka
Semoga kau dapat
kemana angin
Terpecah
membawa
dua benua.
kekasih semoga kau dapat kepenuhan
Pada pintu
cinta
yang membuka
dalam
dini
aku
hari.
tiada.
Kemana?
terpecah
Angin
dua
membawa
benua.
diri.
Suatu kelupaan.
Kekasih. Semoga kau dapat kepenuhan cinta. Dalam aku tiada. Terpecah dua benua. Suatu kelupaan di sisi samudra. Tahu jalan kembali.
Antara nyur dan salju. Merentang ketidakpedulian tujuh. Satu rasa. Dua kematian. Satu kasih. Dua kesetiaan. Antara benua dan benua. Tertunggu rindu samudra. Dua kota. Satu kekosongan. Dua alamat. Satu kehilangan. Antara nyur dan salju. Merentang ketidakpedulian tujuh. Semoga kasih tahu jalan kembali. Pada pintu yang membuka dini hari. Philemon. Angin membawa. Kasih. Semoga aku dapat cinta dan aku tiada. I want to thank Philemon Mukarno, who was present. He's the second composer, and also he did a lot of sound recording. And so, if you want to come, Philemon, please come with us. So, this is Philemon. And this is the voice skin. So I'm gonna put the voice skin off, otherwise she's gonna scream around again.
Even more screaming. Wow.
So thank you, Bram, for hosting the night. It's
Oh,
a
you're
pleasure
very
to
welcome.
be back and warm.
I was quite surprised. I was asked yesterday, well, actually told yesterday, Bram, you're gonna host a thing. I'm like, okay, what is it? And I'm very happy I got assigned to this post tonight. Therefore, I have many questions since I'm maybe just as much informed as most of you. So I would like to start with a very simple question. Who are you?
No, ask my mother.
All right.
From my mother.
No, but let's get to the more interesting about you. Is you do? I also saw some other works you made. You like to work with sounds. Why is that?
Yeah. So actually, it started with my mother. She always sang when I was in her belly. And yeah, at some point I just decided that the voice would be my crafts, mijn ambacht. because it's so vital, it's so intuitive, and it's your body, it's your heartbeat and your breathing, and it's just kind of basic thing we have as human beings. So yeah, I always sang, and then in 2008 I started to train my voice with a special training called it's a technique, like a style from North India. It's called Durand. So I studied this in Rotterdam with Marianne Swazek, and in Berlin with Amelia Cooney. And this is like the grounding for my vocal training.
Wow.
Yeah, and Amelia Cooney, her husband, is the first composer of this piece. So it was really an honor, because after so many years with her, like I worked with Werner, Durand, and yeah, that was a really amazing collaboration for Hard Sign.
So it's really, really close to your roots,
Absolutely.
all the way from the 80s. Wow.
Absolutely. Although it's not at all related to my training in Drupal, the techniques we have been using. So in 2013, I started to collaborate with a Peruvian composer, Sajjra Xhrs Galarreta, who is the third who made the last piece. Like the third piece was by him, and I was like really neat training in the Drupal, which is very like introverted style. It's like it's more like melodic and flowing. So you use your voice like more like like this kind of technique. But then Chris, he said like once we were in a valley, and he said, "Why don't you scream to the other side?" And then I did it, and then I heard the echo. And then a few hundred meters further, the mountains are not straight, so the echo was different. And so I started to kind of use other techniques, and then he really like pushed a bit the borders for of my comfort. And then I started to develop other ways to use my voice. So this is a kind of mixture today.
So let's talk about the device, because where can I get one? Because they're fantastic.
Right.
I love how they are not just completely on its own, because you can do this anywhere right now, but I like how it's also so shapeable. So who designed and made these beauties?
Yeah, so I studied textile in my bachelor in Amsterdam, and I started there in 2008 to make like let's say maps, like a map of a church printed on a textile, and then a door in the map would be, for example, opening. A pillar would be a button, and then so it was like kind of clothing that I could wear in transposed to the architecture. So that's kind of and then for example a wall would be a cut in the textile. And I did this in 2008. Trait d'Union was the name of the project, with Arden Janneke. She was my colleague and friend in the department, and she was very good in sewing and also in conceptualizing. So, kind of this work with Arden is up until now, and she designed the voice skin in dialogue with the composers and me, and she also gave it the name because she thought. It is like an extension of my body, so it's like unclear where the source comes from. So if it's me or if the speakers are sounding.
Yes, I got that. I just, well, you heard me say that, but that's definitely what is happening, and that's what I think is so perfect and beautiful about this. Let's talk about the music, or landscapes, as we can call them actually more. The first piece is from
Werner Durand from Berlin. Yes.
Yeah.
So he's there in the stream, listening, watching us. I'm thinking. Unfortunately, not here present as well. Sajjra Xhrs Galarreta is not here, but. So with Werner, like Werner also makes his own wind instruments, and we started to play together one time in 2019 when we thought to work together for this project, and then he thought some sounds I make can resemble sounds from his instruments, and so that's how we started off. And then he gave me, because we live far from each other, so he sent me over internet the soundtrack that he composed. That is kind of what we heard from the speakers today. And then he asked me to sing along, to improvise, let's say, to kind of find my way together with this sound. And then I've sent him all my recordings, and then he made a track as guideline with my voice. So this is my kind of score or guideline. And I for his track, I choose to work with breathing sounds in and out. So breathing in with sound, breathing out with sound. So that was my interpretation, and he for his soundtrack he used recordings from heartbeats from a doctor that's recorded heartbeats from patients, and sine waves.
I kind of felt a bit because with the movement, it because of this shape, it becomes very quick. Well, in my perspective, animalistic. Is that where you also get your inspiration from? Because it really sounded, for me, like a little bug that was trying to, I don't know, get out of the water or something. Is that where you draw inspiration from with these shapes, or is it? Where does it come from?
It was like kind of a flowing process. So Werner didn't put any intentions. He didn't tell me, Janneke, you have to move like this, you have to make this sound. He just said, be in the moment, listen to this sound, and go with that, and just flow with that sound, be in that sound, let's say. And so it's like this shape was naturally asking me to make that movement, let's say, because it's like two panels on each side, and then I'm in the middle, and then it's kind of like, because when I put the voice skin like this, then my voice is also a bit dimmed, right? And if I put it open, then it's not muffled by the textile. So I kind of, it's like the shape really demands that. And I think Arden, she chose a circle because I always like to circumambulate and then also walk in circles when I perform solo. So the sound really travels around. And I think she just thought it as a nice and universal shape for this. Maybe we will make more editions, different versions of the voice skin. Yeah.
Good. About the second piece by Philemon.
Yeah, so
that was a bit more intense, to say it the least.
Yeah, so it's also a very intense background. So I will say it shortly. Philemon gave me the authorization to talk about this work. So let's say that this work. So first of all, I played in Worm in January 2018. When Philemon played also in that same night with Joanna and Vanita. It was in the back there, down in the bar. And then we didn't know each other. And then Philemon was like, Janneke, how many speakers do you have hidden? I kind of hear like 4 voices. And then he said, maybe you have to listen to my work. And I was like, okay, I can listen to your work. And I liked his work a lot. It's very textural, so he liked a lot of textures in the sound. And then he said, okay, I want to make opera for you. And I would like to make electro-acoustic music too, so digital tracks. So not just solo voice, but also... And then he said, why don't we put speakers really, like literally on your body, like in your clothes? And so I was like, okay, I remember Arden, and then her partner Jesse Howard, he's a designer, and so he worked with 3D printing, and then so that's how it evolved. And so with Jesse, Arden, and Philemon, we started to think, and then I invited the 2 other composers. Okay, but then for his piece, his inspiration is back to the Dutch Indonesian history, because his father is a Dutch soldier, was a Dutch soldier, and he was imprisoned in a Yapo camp in Indonesia in the Second World War. And he wrote letters to his Indonesian wife, the grandmother Philemon. And in these letters, he also mentioned, he announced that he would be sentenced to death. So these letters are very troubling, very intense, of course, although they seem to be nice. Like the grandfather didn't want to make them very heavy, but yeah. So this was his inspiration: a personal family history, also like Dutch colonial history and war history. And then just these letters were not suitable for the text, for musical interpretation. So the poem that I sang is from Sitor Situmorang. It's called A Tale of Two Continents. Een verhaal tussen twee continenten is called this poem. And during the whole piece, it kind of flows. So it is deconstructed in syllables, then it is just with the vowels. So it's kind of like going through all the emotions. And the poem is about two loved ones that are very far from each other and cannot be together. It's kind of very, it has a lot of violence, but it's also a lot of sadness. And I think this goes in the poem. Like just one quote, for example, is Tertungu rindu samudra. And this means like is waiting the longing of the ocean. So I already said this in the other talk before, but can you imagine how deep this longing is? If it's the longing of the ocean, how big, immense. So it's very visual, but also, yeah. That's this.
That's
and
I'm
also
happy that in the end you brought them all together. Then that's
yeah,
I really like that symbolism in there, that you found all these people that were there, and in the end you brought them together, and then when you laid them down, it was to rest, and we could all move on from that intensity. Is that what you tried to say with that?
Yeah, sure. It has tenderness, but also violence, and also anger. So it is all in there. And the process was very heavy too, because Philemon gave me 6 pages of musical notation. And in the Indian Drupad singing, I learned from oral tradition. So I had to learn his score, but like through a logic program, listening to the notes. So I could learn it by ear, but still it was quite a challenge. I always say it because, yeah, it was super hard. But I'm very happy that Philemon joined me. He was always on my side and supporting. So I think we are very satisfied with the result.
And you should be, and very proud as well, bringing it like this.
Yeah.
We have one more piece to talk about.
Yeah.
And that's from Xhrs Galarreta. And you worked with him before?
Right. We work since 2013 together. So we have several releases that we made, like recordings from my voice in a tower. So really working with the acoustic of the architecture. And also we worked in a mass tunnel. We have a release laying there. So we recorded hidden acoustic characteristics of the mass tunnel. And for this piece, he composed for my voice, but in a very kind of ritual way, like it's not for everyone to experience. So it's a piece that is quite unique. I just performed it once in April in Barcelona. In Stuttgart, it was censured. In a contemporary art place, nota bene. Yeah, because it was naked. But the point is, like, it is like kind of going back to ancient thing, without making it explicit. He's like saying, Janneke, we are in a war. We are like warriors in this life. Somehow.
Most of the time.
We are warriors, and we have our mission to fulfill in our life. And it's kind of attitudes. And he explores trance effects with the slow movements of the sound. So moving slowly, the sound changes also.
So
and with my voice, I kind of modulate together.
Was this more like a battle cry then, or more like a stance you make?
And I think everyone decides or interprets it, but it's very like for all the three composers, the pieces are really to be immersed to experience, like physically, not necessarily understand. You know, you just like have a shower. Yeah.
You don't explain the shower, you just have it. That's very understandable. Good. Are there any people in the audience that have a question about this?
It can also be in Dutch, of course. Ja, dus als er vragen zijn, kunnen we het ook in het Nederlands stellen.
There was this performative act as well from us to take the phones and shine the light on you. Can you explain about that one?
Yes, so the performative act, that's the audience was asked to take the lights. It was my idea because I thought it was nice that we used the reflector textile on the speakers, because that was a visual element that we decided for, together with the shiny surface on the backside. And that there's this also variation between the pieces. And Werner actually liked that in the beginning I would be in a dark wall and that you don't really know what it is. You just have a black circle on a black wall, so you don't know anything, you don't see anything. And then slowly, you know, the light comes when you see the speakers. Yeah, so just a visual, I think to analyze it, it's nice, but you will make maybe your own analyze.
For me, it kind of represented a bit like solar satellites sometimes. At least maybe it's just me, but you know, this
Solar satellites.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I said, Werner didn't really put a concept, like it should represent this. He just told me, Janneke, it shouldn't be too animalistic, like that you are like a butterfly and you're making this breathing sound, you know, like. But yeah, it's like what it is at some point.
That's what art's usually for. So, mission accomplished, again. Anyone maybe on the right have a question? On the left? Over there, yes?
Yeah, so in the first and the third piece, I could hear there was, the skin was making sound and you were making sound and you were interacting. But in the second Philemon's piece, I could often hear that what you were singing was somehow being captured, recorded and reprocessed. So there are clearly some microphones sending the signal back to the skin. Can you say something about that?
Yeah, so all three composers did this work for my voice and the voice skin, but Philemon especially recorded all possible sounds I can make for a month long in March 2019, and he made the electro-acoustic track, it's called, so like the instrumentation for the 6 speakers, just based from the field recordings that he also changed a little bit. So it's like MP3 player going with a wire to an amplifier and charged batteries, and then that goes to contact speakers, and with a cardboard panel and the textile surface, the sound is amplified. So it's like an open speaker. It's not a box, but it's a speaker. So the interaction is based on the movement in the space, so the acoustics.
Is
That's
there
interaction.
a plan to put a microphone on here? Is there have you experimented with that as well?
Well,
Or is that too dangerous? Because when you usually put a microphone near a speaker, you get woo and stuff like that. And well, you like to do that yourself, of course.
maybe for another version we will make other thing, but yeah, it's very simple technology, and yeah.
All right.
So-
Well, yes. One more question.
She has a question in Spanish.
Translator.
Yeah, I cannot. You can translate it, or I can translate it.
Cuando tú emites cada sonido, tú expresas emociones y sentimientos. ¿Tú lo sientes o es algo que tú ya tienes en tu mente nada más? ¿Cómo te sientes
Mhm.
en cada emoción que expresas a los sonidos?
pregunta es muy bonito que me preguntes eso. So she asked me the sounds that I am singing and the emotions that I express, do I feel them or do I just have them in my head, let's say. And I really like it because the lady comes from Colombia and I really love South American culture and people in a way, because also Chris comes from Peru and I was so connected with that continent for such a long time that I feel this question relates to emotions, right? Which is something very interesting in life. This piece gives a lot of emotions and it's a question that is never asked. So it doesn't surprise that you ask it because of where you come from also. So digo es por tu origen, creo que me preguntas eso, porque esa pregunta nunca la gente me pregunta. But I will first answer in English, okay? So yeah, it's kind of mixed. So it's not a theater, it's not a gimmick that I'm like representing something with this, although the piece of Philemon has some emotions because of the techniques also. But let's say that, yeah, it comes from what I feel, what you feel also. So if I feel anger or sadness, then I transmit it. But if I fake it, I don't think it comes really. So it has to do with your own feelings, in my case. So creo que ella ver con tus propios sentimientos. So si tengo tristeza, le exprimo mejor, ¿no? Que no es un teatro, una representación, lo que hago. Pero la cosa de Philemon, la segunda pieza, es muy... hay muchas emociones por la técnica, pero al final es lo que tú sientes también. Y que, bueno, I think the most important is what you feel for you, like, lo que tú sientes es mejor. Yeah.
Good. I have one more question myself. That's about the mobility of this device, because you are the speaker and you are actually the screen and the dancer and the voice in one. Where would you like, if you had any spot on this planet where you could do a performance with this, where would we airdrop you?
I never really think like that. I like to move through all layers of society or through nature or architecture. I can say that I'm not really thinking I have to go there or there or there, but I always like to be in places where Xhrs Galarreta always calls it places of power, like places where there's a special energy, places where you might find traces also from ancestral knowledge, like in old archaeology. So I always like to go to solar clocks or places where there is a kind of special geographical astronomical relation between the stars or the sun and the geography on our planet. It's like something that I explore in my life, in my artistic practice, and so if I would go with this or with myself, or it would just be out of interest, going to places that have this special presence where we can like acknowledge their being. Let's say.
All right, yeah, that's a good answer. Very good answer.
Yeah.
It's tough to pinpoint one point of power. So this whole planet is just basically, this huge ball of power.
Well, I would like to go to Indonesia with this, for sure, and to Peru. Yeah, for sure. Because this is like the Peruvian and the Indonesian composer need to, yeah. So this is a answer very concrete, of course.
It's okay. It's okay. Yes. Give it up for Janneke. Me too, actually. I want to thank you very much also for these answers and, of course, your beautiful performance and all your energy. Everyone here, I hope you had a fantastic time, and I hope to see you soon, also here in Worm, for future performances. And everyone on the stream, have a safe way home, Nate. Everyone here, have a safe way home, and everyone on the stream, good night. And I hope to see you soon. My name was Kate. Good night.
Thank you so much.